Hey everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my channel, and today is November 1st. And if you are a writer, you know what November 1st means. Nanowrimo. It is the month of Nanowrimo. And you probably won't see this video until Wednesday or so it won't be November 1st when you see this. But if you are a writer, you know why Nanowrimo is a big deal. It is the month that us crazy people who like to write decide that we're going to write 50,000 words in 30 days because we're nuts and we like to torture ourselves. But it's actually really fun. I've been participating in Nanowrimo for probably the last 15 years, and I love it because of the community that surrounds it. Usually on a typical year, we have write-ins and events, and libraries will host events, and book stores will host events, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. People will get together at coffee shops and talk about books and talk about what they're writing and talk about what they hope to do with their career. And it's just a great opportunity to meet people who are like-minded and love to write like you do. But this year is obviously very different because of the pandemic. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of in-person write-ins. If there are any, I don't know. And I know that there's some people hosting virtual write-ins, which I'm not the hugest fan of. So I'll be anxious to see how those work out. I'm not too positive they're going to be great. But it'll be interesting just to see how it all kind of works out in the long run, right? See how it goes. So I approached NaNoWriMo a little bit differently this year, and I thought I would do a quick video to explain how I've approached NaNoWriMo differently, and then I will let you know like a halfway through how it's going and then at the end how it's going. But there are a few things, glasses are falling down. There's a few things that I did do differently this year that I don't usually do. So I ended up compiling a lot of different ideas from different authors. So some of this stuff came from like Sarah Cannon, some of this stuff came from a couple of I just Googled. I got on Google. Some of this stuff came from the NaNoWriMo website themselves. I just kind of did a lot of watching a lot of YouTube videos and doing a lot of planning and just trying to figure out like how it all works. And it became such an interesting Preptober because for the first time I actually really prepped fully for Preptober. So I'm actually really excited to see how this book turns out now that I have prepared the way I did. So some things I've done differently this year. Number one, I usually only do the basic plot details, enough to have an idea of what I'm writing, but I don't write too much detail because I want to stay open to creativity. The problem with this is that I often end up with the writer's slump in the middle of the book, right? I know how the book starts, I know how the book ends, and I have a basic idea of what the big thing is in the middle that's like the big thing. But getting to those points is where I lose it. And I'll often get to where I'm about 6, 7, 8 chapters into the book, and suddenly I'm like, and now what? I don't know what to do with these people. And I get stuck. And I've learned that sometimes me trying to leave my middle of the book vague to be creative in NaNoWriMo is not a good idea, because the whole purpose in NaNoWriMo is just to write. That's one of the main things they say. They're like, don't worry about editing, don't worry about being perfect, just get words on paper or on the computer screen. And that's where I get stuck. So this year I actually plotted out everything. I found several worksheets. I did a 3-act structure. I did like a plot twist, and I did like a midpoint. I did like the ending of the book and what's the resolution and all the plot points. I literally plotted out the entire story from start to finish. And even though it's not in great detail, I know every scene. So like I know that the middle of the book, there's a scene in a ballroom, a scene in a car, a scene in a doctor's office. Like I know the scenes. Like I can play the movie in my head, and I know with great detail what is happening in each point of the book, which means that it's going to be hopefully much easier for me when I hit that middle point and I don't get stuck. So I went full on plotting. There was no plantsing here. I plotted to a T. So hopefully this will help the writer's block that I get in the middle of the whole thing. Secondly, I made sure that I was honest with myself about how many days I'm going to write. Realistically speaking, I'm not going to write 30 days. I'm not. It happens to me every year. I plan to write I forget what the word is, 1,367? I don't know the neck number, but 50,000 words divided by 30 days. And I always am like, I have to write that every single day. And then I get like a weekend and I'm like, oh, I was too busy. I didn't get it done. And then, I was busy again. I didn't get it done. And then you're 2 days behind. And then you're like, crap, in order to catch up, I have to write like 5,000 words today, which is not always possible depending on your day. And then your whole schedule gets thrown off. By the time I get halfway through the month, I know that I'm behind. And I'm so overwhelmed by being behind that I just throw in the towel and I'm like, forget it. I'm not going to win Nanowrimo this year. So I actually had this idea from Sarah Cannon, who in her Preptober and prepping for Nanowrimo materials, she talks about going through your calendar and just marking off what days do you know you're not going to write. So for example, I know Wednesday night I have Bible study. I'm not going to write on Wednesday. I know that I'm not probably going to write on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving because I'm hosting Thanksgiving dinner this year for my small group of family that has been with me throughout this pandemic. We're going to eat dinner together, right? So I know I won't write on those days. I know that there are usually one day out of the week that work runs late or I have something I need to work on for work. So realistically, I'm thinking I'm probably only going to write 5 days out of the week, maybe, and the week of Thanksgiving, probably only like 4 days out of the week. So I went through and I said, okay, if I take all of these days out, I'm left with 19 days or 20 days. How many words do I need to write to meet that count without writing on those days? So I actually planned a buffer. So I'm only planning to write 20 days this month and we'll see how it goes. So I know that I need to write about 2,500 words every day that I am writing in order to stay on track. But I think that's important because we always think, I'm going to write every day. No, you're not. Life happens. You're probably not going to write every day. So just plan for it. And the third thing I'm doing differently this year is that I'm making it a priority. I have an office now, which means I can come in here and I can shut the door and make the writing a priority. And I think that's going to be a big game changer for me this year, that it's not something fun I'd like to do, but it's something fun that I'm going to do. And to approach it as like, I need to do it, I need to do it right, and not as like when I feel like it. No, this is my priority. I'm making time for it. So I'm hoping Nanowrimo goes well this year. I don't know. It's going to be weird to not have in-person write-ins and to not have as much like face-to-face interaction this year, but I'm still looking forward to it and I can't wait to see how it goes. So let me know if you're doing Nanowrimo this year and what you've done to prepare, and we'll kind of, we can chat. If you have any virtual write-ins you're doing, let me know. We can hang out. I have no idea how to host one. If I can figure it out, I'll let you know. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.